Hello everyone, it's Nick Lawson with cdc-takecharge software, and this is our 11th session on building an improved desktop for the Microsoft operating system. If you've been following our blog, and I certainly hope you have, you know that in our last posting we said we would be using a punch list to ensure that all the tiny little details get taken care of for each of our current modules before we move on to our next projects. So, here's our punch list, and we had modules are clock calendar, file manager, and file organizer. Today we're going to look at the punch list for the clock calendar. First, we said that we needed to set the font color to red on the buttons of a calendar if there are any task, notes, or appointments scheduled for that day. Second, we said that on the quick note entry form we need to set it up to allow for continuous entry. And finally, we need to complete our web bookmark manager. Well, we don't have the bookmark manager done yet, so we're not going to look at that today. We're going to look at 1 and 2. If you look over here at our calendar, you will notice that we have now days that are red on our calendar. That's because we have appointments for them. So if I click on the first, um, it says I have 2 notes for this scheduled day, 10/1/2013. We want to view those notes. Here they are. Now I can take and select one of the notes that's assigned for that day. I can do a follow-up. I can email it, print it, anything I need to do with it. Also, if you notice here at the top, we've changed our form from the last time, or from when we originally set it up in the contact management lessons that we did. What we've done is we've added the ability to take and drill down and look for contact, note type, note date, or follow-up date. So let's say I want to see all emails. If I select email, there they are. If I want to see all phone calls, there they are. See how simple that is? What's happening is we are using a variable, these are variables, and we point back the values that exist in the activity table, and then on change, we query the table to display just the record set that we want to see. That makes it very easy for the user to drill down by any of these values and find what they want. Uh, Rather than having to sort through lots of emails, sort through lots of appointments, it's all done right here at this one screen. You can even sort through on the individual follow-up dates. Now we said we wanted to be able to do quick note entries as well. So we're going to take and click on New Note. It takes and assigns a note to whatever date is selected in our calendar. However, we can change that date. We want to change it to the 24th. Okay? And we don't want it to be a quick note. We want it to be a note for Nick right there, and we want it to be a online message. There you go. Save it. Now we can do as many as we want. We can add another note, another date, or same date, whatever we want. Query and find a note that already exists and work on whatever needs to be done on that particular day. Very cool, very simple. So we've accomplished both of our goals. Now let's take a look at how we did that. First, we're going to take and look at our uh, variables. We have variable x contact, x type, x character date, and x follow-up date. So first, on the on change event, for each of those, they all basically work the same way. We run a top parent query, and we filter by the value that the user selects for the associated variable. The list queries, it redisplays on the screen, and all's good in the world. On the new entry, what we do is we start a new record. We fill in the day entered value as the current day because that's the day you're entering it. We set the ID value to default of a contact note or a quick note rather, and we set the activity date to equal the date on our calendar, which is ACT date. But then we allow them the ability to change those so that they can set it for whatever they want. And then we set the contact type to quick note. We activate the contact ID, and you notice we do not save the entry because the expectation is that the user will continue to fill in whatever note that they need to go along with that entry. Very cool, very simple. So now that's how we've done those things. On the calendar, we had to come up with a way to make the button color red if there were activities or notes scheduled on any given day within that 42-day view. Well, the way we did that was by using a very simple piece of code. If you remember back when we were in the graphics design blog lessons and we looked at the clock calendar, we went ahead and wrote this array so that we could take and set the colors of the buttons to whatever color we needed. If they were in the current month, we made them dark blue. If they were before or after the current month, we made them gray 50. That way the user could distinguish what's the current month and what's previous and what's next. Now, to take and add red to the dates that have activities, we simply add this little piece of code right here. We set a variable, numeric variable, record count, and we set a date variable, check date. Check date is equal to each day or date that is in our array, starting from the first button all the way to the 42nd button. Then it takes and uses record count and does a table count on activity to see if there are any dates in the contact date field that match our variable CK date. If there are, if record count is greater than 1, then we use the evaluate function once again, like we did up here, except we set the font color to red. That's it. That's very simple. Now, in order for that to take and work universally through our application, we had to make a couple of changes and add that code in a few places. We needed to take and add it to our navigation buttons for the previous month and previous year, and the next month and the next year. We needed to add it to our hotspot text, which brings them back to the current date. And on our form, we needed to add it to the on initiate and the on timer. Now, the reason it's on the on timer is that once every day, the on timer crosses midnight. Well, at the end of a month, if it crosses midnight, you're now in a new month. So by having it on here, once it crosses into the new month, it refreshes our calendar and would display any values for the new month on our calendar form that have appointments on them, and they would be red. That's it. It's very simple stuff and very useful. Keep in mind that one of the key components of any program that you design allows the user to use the data they entered either to take and display it in a report, or use it to qualify other data entry, or use it as a lookup or a find, or even as a trigger event. Say for example you're doing a cash management application, and every time a cashier drawer is banked out, if they are short 1/10 of 1% of the net sales for that drawer, the supervisor wants to be notified by an email. Well, you would use this type of event to take and see if they were short. You would search the table, find their name, look at the value of the over short field, and if it's greater than 1/10 of 1% of net sales, it automatically sends an email. Very simple. And this is a great way to take and do that kind of stuff. It's very fast and very easy to do. Well, that's it for today, folks. I hope you found this useful, and make sure you stop by for the next one when we'll be looking at that web bookmark manager and how that form is created. Thanks a lot, and have a great day.